Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Robert?
Great. Thank you for doing this. I know that you're very, very popular, but of all the people that we get requests for, movies, all of that, number one is Doris Day.
Oh, well, you've made my
You've
day.
got a huge fan base. People respect you so much. They love your music. They love your personality. They love your films. And they talk about you all the time in the best way.
I can't believe it, but I believe you.
It's quite true. When did you realize that you could sing? And not just sing, but really sing well? Was that when you were very young?
Very young. I think I was in a dancing school. I was about 5. Is that young enough?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Anyway, when we were 5 years old, we had to pick out a song to sing and then make up a dance, a tap dance, and do that on Saturday. The next Saturday, you have to have that for us. And we would go downtown, my mother and I would be trying different songs at 5. and that's how it started. And I love singing and I love dancing.
I know you're a wonderful dancer. I remember when you were dancing with Gene Nelson in those movies and everything, T for Two and Lullaby Broadway. You could really hoof really well. And I think because I first was aware of you as a singer, it kind of surprised me that you could dance so well.
Well, it surprised me, too, because I hadn't been dancing in the films. I was just, singing. And so when it came time to start dancing, I thought to myself, whoa,
Yeah.
what am I going to do about this? But everything just turned out the way it was supposed to, and I fell right into it, and I love doing it.
Now, did you ever think about, when you were young, about doing that as a profession, dancing or singing? Was that always
No,
on your mind?
I didn't. I knew that, I wanted to sing. And that started when I was only 16. Oh, I was just loving that, and seeing the people out there, and I really enjoyed that. But I danced in some films, and I loved that too.
Well, you're such a natural. I remember seeing I don't know if they called them soundies or whatever, but a short that you made one time with, I believe, Les Brown.
Oh yeah, I remember soundies.
But before you got into films, really, and you were so comfortable on camera right off the bat, so charming. And I thought, now, people must have come after you before Warner Brothers to be in films because you were such a natural.
I don't know about films, about coming out in films. I don't know about
They
that.
weren't paying attention then because, boy, you had it from the very beginning.
Well, aren't you nice? You are very nice.
No, I call,
Yeah, I think
I
you're
call them
very
as I
nice.
see them. No, but you were such a natural. And I was also curious, were you ever nervous in front of a camera? Did you have any kind of stage fright?
I didn't. I'm honest. I didn't at all.
Well, it shows.
I don't understand that myself, and nobody else did either. But I just, if I have one thing to do that I don't get frightened with, I do that one thing, and I've never been nervous or lost, the words. It just all came like it was supposed to, I guess.
Like it was meant to be, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
really
it shows, and you're so comfortable, and I think that's why, people responded to you so quickly right off the bat. You were so comfortable on camera and so much fun and relaxed. You're also so honest, but I think maybe that also, we learned that from your singing as well. I mean, you're such a good actress in your songs, and so that, it's understandable that you'd be a good actress with words.
Oh my goodness, you're just saying so many nice things.
I've been wanting to say this to you
I'm just
forever.
about to cave in.
How did you get your first singing job, your first paying job?
I forget what it was, because I was dancing with a partner at that time and very young. And of course, I was in a car accident which shattered my right leg. And I was in a cast for nearly 2 years. Of course, that put an end to my dancing, and while I was recuperating, I would listen to the radio and sing along with the bands, and often with Ella Fitzgerald, and that's how I started singing. There was a wonderful lady in Cincinnati who was at WLW, and she was in that business of finding singers.
Uh-huh.
And her name is Grace Rain. She found me and asked me to come in. And I came in, and I wasn't even walking because I had fallen.
Right.
They had to carry me upstairs. I got up there and sat on the long seat with her, and she said, I just want you to sing. Just start singing. You know that song? And I said, oh, yeah, I know that. And she didn't even say, how are you feeling? Are you doing well with all this? She didn't do that. She said, sing. I sang. And she said, that's it. And I said, what's it? And she said, you're going to be with me for a while. And I said, oh, I'd love that. And that's how it started.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Also, that was a great time to be a singer because that was a big band era that was an exciting time, I think.
Oh, I enjoyed WLW. And I had the 12 o'clock midnight to do. Do you know much about that?
No, I don't. Is that the radio?
Well,
the radio?
They were known, you know,
Uh-huh.
WLW. They were known for their midnight half hour. And it was with one musician playing and one singer. And it was very romantic.
Oh, it sounds like it.
It really was romantic. And I just fell apart on that. I loved it. We had to drive all the way there at midnight. My mother would be sitting in the car listening, and then we'd drive home. And isn't that funny in Cincinnati that I was doing that?
Yes. But at a time like that, with something new like that, and you love doing it, you don't mind those hazards along the way. Did you, on the radio, the midnight show, did you get to pick the music yourself?
Well, I picked a few because I knew a few. And they liked them. And I didn't want to act like, oh, here I am. I was nobody. And but they did let me do a few of the things that I liked, you know. But I really enjoyed doing that.
Now, did you have any ambitions at that point to be an actress, to move into acting?
Never. No, I never did.
Never crossed your mind?
No, it didn't. I don't know when it did. As a matter, I know when somebody found me at 16, and there I was singing in the band in Cincinnati, and that's where it started. And we had to say I was 18.
So when you started as an actress?
Oh, no, it was just singing.
Uh-huh.
And somebody must have heard me. And I don't know, it was a very strange start, but boom. And when I started with them, they asked me to sing, and there was a pianist there from the orchestra. This was in the daytime. The place was opening that very night, this big, beautiful place. And the man playing the piano called me up on the stage, and there weren't any people there, just a few. And I went up, and he said, can you sing this? And I said, oh, I know that. And he played it, and I sang, and then a few people started coming up, you know. And I didn't think anything about it, and they were very cute. They clapped. And, I was just a mess. I was so embarrassed. But then, before we could leave, a gentleman there spoke to my mother and said, we've decided that we would like to have your daughter with the orchestra. And she looked at him like he was crazy. We would really like for her to start tonight.
Wow.
And I did. I don't know how I did it. I did it. And we had to run quickly and buy a gown because I didn't have one, and I was only 16. And that's how it started.
What a whirlwind start. Wow. That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Talk about something that was meant to be, though. It really was.
I guess so.
Let's talk a little about your getting into films and how all that started. Because that was kind of miraculous, too.
That was with Michael Curtiz.
Right.
And I happened to be around the studio, but I was going to New York the next day. And I had an agent, and we were just kind of walking around. You know, my mother was with me, and we were, all, looking at everything on the sound stages, and it was such a thing to see. And then we came back, and somebody called me. They were looking for a girl for a movie, and they had 12 that they tried and didn't take one. And you had to go and read a scene. And then when you finish the scene, you leave, and they decide if they like you. Well, I wasn't going to do that. I mean, I was just kind of standing around. I was with my mouth open, looking at everything. And so excited about just going to go to New York and sing. And so somebody came back and took me by the hand and said, "We need you out there because there's a man, and he's working for, he's going to try to get in a film here." And the girl left. She had to leave, and she was the only one here that was left. And I said, "What do you want me to do, please?" And he said, "Just read the girl's words. Just come up and do that, please, for this young man, because he's very good and he would appreciate it." And I didn't even know what he meant. But he took me by the hand and took me up there and gave me the list of 2 or 3 pages maybe, and said, "Could you read these for a gentleman that you'll be meeting in a few minutes? Because he's the last one, and we want him to have a chance." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I can read." And so they gave me these 3 papers, and I read them, just standing there because I hadn't met him. And I read the 3 papers, and he comes along and he said, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I understand you're going to help me." And I said, "I hope." And we did it, and we did it in 1, as a matter of fact. Ha-ha. And that was the first thing I ever did.
That's amazing, yes.
But that was great. I just loved that. I thought that was the greatest thing I could ever do.
But it was amazing, too. I mean, you starred in your very first film and made a big success in that. Do you believe in destiny on these things? Do you think any of that's preordained? That you were meant to be doing exactly what you were doing?
I didn't really think about it, but I sure liked it. In fact, I loved it. And I thought, oh, I just have so much fun with this, but I didn't know what would happen. And I didn't want to just, think about that all the time. But I did love it, and it just rolled.
It also shows in the work that you loved it, in your voice, in your personality, and everything like that you're having a good time. And by doing that, the audience is having a good time.
Oh, I loved that. When they applauded, I almost fainted. but they did. And no, I really loved my work.
Talk a little about Michael Curtiz. I know he was very important in your career.
Oh, he was. I adored him.
What made him so special?
Well, I just thought he was so smart. And he just knew, what is going to be good and what isn't. I was just amazed with him. And, of course, I didn't know anything about it, but I knew he was right on that. He was absolutely right. And then I, was in 3 films with him.
Uh-huh.
And, I loved him. I really loved him, and he was so wonderful to me.
Well, his work is so amazing, too, his variety of work. So was that exciting for you when you got the lead in your first movie? And here it is, a big Technicolor extravaganza?
Oh, my goodness. No, I wasn't nervous. I must tell you that.
I think that's so fine. That's really interesting.
I just wasn't nervous. I loved it. It was funny, when I would get papers to read, the scenes, I had a feeling of not having to go back 3 times and read it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I just read the words, what they meant to me, and so I didn't, if I had to read it again, I would do that for them. It was something that I thought that anybody would do. I thought everybody was doing the same thing, and never knew that it wasn't that way.
Mm-hmm. Was it true that Michael Curtiz told you that you should not take acting lessons?
That is true. He said, "You don't need lessons, darling." That's what he said. And I said to him, "Oh, no, you're kidding." And he said, "No, I'm not kidding."
That shows how smart he was. I always have thought it was so interesting about your career that, you started out in these big musicals playing the leads, and then all of a sudden you're in Storm Warning with Ginger Rogers and Ronald Reagan, a very dramatic role. You have no songs in it. Where did that transition come from? Is that something that you requested, or?
No, I didn't know a thing about it. I didn't know it until the night before.
Really?
They said, "You have to come in, you're going to be in a scene." It's in it was in a funky place, wasn't it? And everybody was drinking, and I was a waitress. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah, I was a waitress, and it was just great fun, and I thought that, I just did it. I just talked what I had to say, and when they said, "Oh, we're fine, everything is fine," and the director came up and told me that I did very well, and I was just flying. But that was the first thing I ever did.
That must have been very nice also for the studio to find somebody that could fit easily into dramas, musicals, and was not causing problems and not having to, spend a lot of time coaching and all that sort of stuff.
That was unbelievable.
Rare.
They were frantic.
Yeah.
I think they lost somebody and they tipped me in there. I don't know how that happened, but it was, I was doing it.
See, I think one of the remarkable things about you is the fact that you so smoothly went from musicals to comedies, and you were so good in comedies, and then also those dramas and things like Midnight Lace, for instance, and Julie. Those are very heavy dramas, and again, you did them so well.
Oh, thank you so much. You are so nice to say all these things.
Well, I think that's something a lot of people would like to say to you.
Again, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Rock Hudson once said, when it was talking about, when people would talk about, what a good comedian he turned out to be, and he said, "Doris Day is my actor's studio. That's where I learned it all. That's where I learned everything about comedy and timing." Why did you had this really incredible career, and you stopped? Why did you stop?
I wonder why myself, and I don't know exactly when it was, but it was stupid. It was stupid of me to stop because I loved doing it, just loved it.
Right.
But I should have continued because I really, really loved it. But then I put myself in another position, and then I was married, and I thought that comes first.
Right.
Baloney. That's what I said. Yes, that happened, and I didn't want to be acting and be married to a very nice man who wouldn't want me to do that. But I learned that I should have just stayed, and I should have done what I loved.
Do you ever see a movie or hear a song or something today that you think, "Oh, I'd love to be doing that"?
Oh, I do.
Do you?
Oh, I hear so many. And I sing with them.
Oh, good. I was wondering if you still sang.
Yeah, I sing.
And, of course, you're terribly active in animal rights.
Oh, yes, I am.
And I know that's a big passion of yours.
Oh, yes.
And you've done so much good for that.
Well, other people have done it, too,
How many dogs do you have now?
4 right now. But unfortunately, I lost a few of them not too long ago. And that's the hardest part of it. But I love them so much. They're just like my babies, and they are.
I'd like to ask you just about, just for a little summation of some of your leading men. Mm-hmm. Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I love him. Anything he does is wonderful, and we just got along great. I loved it.
Jimmy Stewart.
I love Jimmy Stewart. You're going to have me because I've had so many.
Yeah, you've had some great leading men.
Yeah, I really have. And Jimmy was, he's adorable.
Well, you had three great Jimmys. You had Jimmy Stewart, Jimmy Cagney, and James Garner.
James Garner,
yeah.
too, very much so. He's an excellent actor. He really is. And who was the other one?
James Cagney.
Oh. Oh, boy.
Are you as fond of Love Me or Leave Me as the rest of us are with Cagney?
Oh, I love that.
I think that's a great film. Really a great film.
Well, you know what? I think it had even more to it when he had me on the bed or something.
Uh-huh.
And I think that they were afraid that it wouldn't go.
Yeah, maybe in 55 it wouldn't have gone.
So they had to cut that. They didn't cut the whole thing. There was enough in there.
It was powerful. It was a powerful movie.
Oh, I loved being in that. I really did. And the people with me.
And Rock Hudson? Those were wonderful comedies.
Rock. He is really so dear to me. He really is. And he was so marvelous to work with that it was almost my favorite, films to do.
Right. Well, you fit together so well, the two of you, personality-wise.
You liked us together?
Yeah, very much so.
Good. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, you fit so
and
well
I feel
together.
So sorry for him. We could have done many.
Yes.
And what happened is really bad.
I have to tell you, you talked about how in awe you were walking around sound stages when you were first out in California with your mother. One of my great treats was the only time I've ever been on a movie set watching a musical number being done was I got to watch you film the Little Boy Blue number in Jumbo.
Really?
Yeah, and that was such a treat. Chuck Walters, I knew, and he invited me to come out there, and it was on a huge stage at MGM, but it was just you singing that beautiful song, and that was a big treat.
Oh, thank you. How sweet of you to say that. Oh, I loved it. I love doing that film. And, I love singing, and I thank you so much.
Is there anything, such thing as a typical day in your life today?
Not right now. I'm not doing much of anything, and that's difficult for me to answer. But you never know. I might, start working again.
Well, we would love that. You've got a whole world out here that would love that more than anything.
Well, maybe I will. You probably talked me into it.
Well, you got to think about that.
I will.
Because if you've got the enthusiasm to do it and everything, my God, people are so interested in you, and you would bring such more joy to their lives. So do think about it.
Well, the way you talk, my gosh, you're so cute. You just say the sweetest things.
No, but I'm quite sincere in what I say. That you mean a lot to us, and anytime your name is brought up, I have to tell you, people get so excited about Doris Day. They love you and your work that you've done, and they really cherish that. So I'm glad to be able to tell you that, because you should know that.
It's thrilling to me for you to say that, and I loved it all so much that it was just ridiculous to not continue. Maybe I will.
Maybe I think you should think about that very seriously.
I may think about it.
thank you again for your time and for doing this. And,
I enjoyed it.
Well,
Thank
thanks.
you for calling.
I certainly did too. And you're very gracious to give us your time, and I know everybody's going to be very happy to hear about you.
Oh, thank you so much, Robert.
Thanks again, Doris.
You were so sweet to call. I appreciate it so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.